If you hear these words, know this. It is no accident, but a response. Your soul itself has been waiting for this call, this signal. We stand on the very precipice of an era foretold for millennia. An era where ancient prophecies, once scattered and forgotten, begin to converge into a singular, striking mosaic. Look to the horizon. Storm clouds gather over our world. Feel the air grow denser, charged with the anticipation of impending, inevitable change. Not all are yet ready for what approaches. Many remain asleep, lost in the comfortable oblivion that has been imposed upon them. But you, those who hear, those whose consciousness has already stirred at this vague yet insistent summons, you are different. Before we enter together the innermost sanctuary, the depths of the truth they so carefully conceal from us, you must make your choice. Your like is not merely a fleeting sign of approval, but a true declaration. This is a declaration of your profound intent, your conscious agreement that the reality you know is merely a thin, deceptive veil. Your subscription is not a passive, thoughtless act. It is your decisive step, your entry into the ranks of those who tirelessly seek, who bravely look beyond the familiar illusion, who are ready with all their hearts to awaken. It is the first, most crucial step, taken across an unseen threshold. The truth, which they so skillfully conceal behind a curtain of endless news streams, behind the dazzling gleam of empty, worthless promises, is actually simple, yet terrible. This is not some conspiracy theory born in the stale, dusty corners of the internet. It is a genuine conspiracy, aimed against your very consciousness, against your true nature, against the divine potential that slumbers within you. We are held captive, chained by ignorance and pervasive fear, while the true nature of being remains unattainable for the vast majority. But the ancient sages, the peoples who were once much closer to the life-giving pulse of the earth, to the infinite rhythm of the cosmos, they knew, they saw, they left us keys, hidden deep within time. Recall the ancient prophecies of the Hopi, that wise indigenous people of the American continent. Their legends, passed down through generations, speak of a coming great purification, times when the very fabric of the world will tremble, and the familiar old order will irrevocably collapse. They mentioned 2 continents destined to awaken, and these are not merely 2 geographical landmasses. No, this is a profound metaphor, an allegory reflecting the coming fundamental shift in the collective consciousness of all humanity. The Hopi prophecy, carefully recorded in their sacred symbols, brought to life in their ritual dances, sounding in their age-old stories, predicts, at the end of the 4th world, the very one that surrounds us now, will come a time of dual, all-encompassing awakening. This is not merely a grim prediction of impending catastrophe. It is, above all, a long-awaited herald of great transformation. And what of the Maya? This enigmatic people, whose meticulously crafted calendars astonish with their incredible precision, whose majestic pyramids still stand as silent beacons of long-gone, yet not forgotten wisdom. Within their counting system, known as the Long Count, lay prophecies of the completion of one great cycle and the inevitable dawn of the next. They spoke of dramatic endings to entire eras, of grand cosmic alignments that, it was claimed, possessed the power to influence the very elusive flow of time and the profound consciousness of humanity. Their entire rich mythology, their deep cosmology, even their unique art, all bear the imprint of a profound understanding of the primal, cyclical nature of the universe. The Maya foresaw that after a long period of inevitable degradation, after a descent into a veil of illusion, humanity would finally reach a critical turning point. And this turning point, much like the ancient prophecies of the Hopi tribe, is inextricably linked to awakening, to the attainment of true awareness. These 2 great and ancient prophetic legacies, separated by thousands of miles of land and sea, as well as centuries, astonishingly speak of the same thing. The Hopi predict the appearance of 2 continents ready for awakening. The Maya, on the other hand, speak of the completion of the current grand cycle, heralding the arrival of a completely new, never-before-seen era. How is such a thing even possible? How could peoples, seemingly living in entirely different, distant worlds, arrive at such strikingly similar prophecies? This is no mere coincidence, no figment of imagination. Rather, it feels like a harmonic resonance, a subtle vibration of truth that permeates the very fabric of reality, binding everything together. But what lies behind the words, 2 continents, and what does the mysterious awakening imply? These concepts extend far beyond simple geographical or political events. They represent something much deeper, an inner transformation touching the very core of our being. It is the awakening of our higher selves, that divine spark that slumbered within us, buried beneath a thick layer of fear, ignorance, and blind materialism that obscured the true light. When the prophets spoke of continents, they did not mean landmasses divided by oceans, but rather 2 fundamental parts of our own nature, 2 intrinsic aspects of our consciousness that must now finally find harmony and merge into one. Before us exist 2 worlds, 2 continents. One is our evident, tangible world, the material reality we perceive through our 5 senses. The other, however, is the subtle, spiritual realm, a world of unseen energy, the domain of our soul, a space of pure consciousness. And this second world, believe me, is far more vast and potent than we can even imagine. The predictions our ancestors left us were not simply ominous prophecies of coming chaos. No, they were not dark visions of the future. Rather, they proved to be detailed instructions, akin to meticulously crafted maps guiding us through the unknown. And, most remarkably, they served as a kind of activation code, capable of awakening hidden potential. For the prophets did not foretell that someone else would perform all necessary actions for us. Their words meant something entirely different. They predicted that it would be we ourselves who would bring about this grand awakening. When the words, 2 continents will awaken, are spoken, it refers not to someone distant or other. This phrase is directed right at you. It concerns every one of us. Recall what was discussed in the Chimera Protocol leak, a document they so fiercely tried to conceal from public eyes. It hinted at the existence of multi-layered consciousness, suggesting our reality is merely one of many strata, one stage where a grand drama unfolds. Or remember the legends of the monastery on Mount Karama, where, as rumors have it, the scrolls of the hermit monk Kenshin were kept. He described the collapse of quantum probability that occurs when collective consciousness reaches a certain critical mass. These seemingly disparate fragments of information begin to form a unified pattern when we notice the connection between ancient wisdom and modern science-like terms. It's that inexplicable anxiety that grips you at 3 a.m. when the entire world is plunged into a deep, impenetrable silence, and it feels as though no one but you senses this growing, oppressive tension. That feeling of acute alienation when you look at the faces of people on the street, at their sometimes so empty, lifeless gazes, and with piercing clarity understand, you are not like them. This is not depression. This is more than just a bad mood. Your very soul is suffocating within this artificial reality. It is your higher self, like a bird trapped in a cage, desperately yearning for freedom, trying to break through the dense walls of illusion, through the veil of imposed mental noise. This is the echo of ancient prophecies, a whisper that resonates deep within your being. The 2 continents, so often spoken of, are, in truth, the awakening of our material world and its spiritual counterpart. It is the profound realization that we are not merely fragile bodies bound to this earth, but immortal beings capable of creation and altering the very fabric of existence. The prophets foresaw not only coming trials and tribulations, they also saw a luminous path to liberation. They envisioned the possibility of true transformation. The ancients, those wise ones who lived in inseparable harmony with the pulse of nature, understood that the universe is not a soulless, indifferent mechanism. This is a living, breathing organism where every creature, every particle, every event is inextricably linked. The times when science was just beginning to explore the cycles of solar activity were marked by a deep connection between these cosmic phenomena and the understanding of the human mind. Ancient prophets, the insightful souls of their time, knew that unseen cosmic energies exert a direct influence on us, on our inner vibration, on the very ability to think and act. They observed how these energies could repeatedly amplify existing tendencies, paving the way either to complete destruction or to grand revival. The Gnostics, those enigmatic mystics of antiquity, described our world as a kind of prison arranged by lower entities. The purpose of this confinement was to keep us in a state of ignorance regarding our true divine nature. They depicted reality as a world of shadows, where only a handful of the chosen managed to find the path to true light. And this path, according to their teachings, lies through Gnostic knowledge, through profound inner enlightenment, through the awakening of that very spark of God that slumbers deep within each of us. Ancient prophecies, such as those of the Hopi and Maya tribes, are essentially just variations of this Gnostic teaching, skillfully adapted to the peculiarities of their cultures and eras. Thus, the mention of 2 continents destined to awaken should be understood as an allegory for the 2 fundamental poles of our being that require reunion. This is the awakening of our left, logical, material aspect of consciousness, and the simultaneous revival of our right, intuitive, spiritual side. When these 2 powerful forces are in disharmony, we inevitably feel an internal split, overcome by fear and all-consuming chaos. But when all these particles unite, we attain true wholeness, unprecedented strength, and boundless creative capacity. We are now experiencing the very height of this pivotal moment, as if standing on the precipice. The entire world is engulfed in turmoil, shaken by a whirlwind of wars, ruthless economic crises, and the unseen threat of pandemics. But what if these formidable monsters, wars, crises, pandemics, are merely shadows, dancing strangely on the walls of an ancient cave, deceiving our sight? What if the true tyrant, the very root cause of all this universal chaos, is actually looking at you from your own reflection in the mirror? What if the real prison we find ourselves in is not the brick walls of our homes, nor the invisible borders of our countries, but the tight confines of our own minds, the fear that binds us, our own voluntarily accepted limitations? And this is not an empty metaphor at all. This is the great inversion, a turning point, the culmination of all that has been foretold. The universe does not punish humanity, no. It is performing a grand, intricate cosmic surgical operation. It is burning out the poison that devours us from within, the poison of fear, which shrouds consciousness, the poison of ignorance, which clouds our vision, the poison of mindless materialism, which corrupts the very essence of our being. This crown of glass, so fragile and precarious, worn by many, is an inflated, trembling ego destined to collapse irrevocably under the relentless weight of approaching truth. And those metallic veins that pierce our civilization are a soulless, faceless system, devoid of all compassion, which must inevitably be reforged. It is precisely at this fateful moment, when the old world is cracking at the seams, when a long-held illusion begins to thin like a spider's web in the wind, when all-consuming chaos seems inevitable, that true, profound understanding arrives. The prophets of the past did not foresee a single mythical savior destined to solve all problems at once. They envisioned something far more significant, an army of awakened souls. They envisioned you. You are not merely a part of destiny. You are its very embodiment. You are the two continents destined to awaken. An ancient Hopi prophecy states, when the appointed time arrives and the world is ready for great changes, two continents will awaken. This is not simply a beautiful image, not a metaphor. It is a true act of creation. It is your new birth. It is that very moment when you will suddenly and clearly realize your genuine power, your true essence. When you will finally understand that you are not a pathetic victim of circumstances, but a mighty creator of your own reality. And now your eyes are open, you see, you feel, you know. Now you can no longer stand aside, inactive. Your like is a bright flash of light, seen everywhere online. It is a ray piercing through impenetrable darkness, illuminating the path. Your share is a tiny seed you sow in the barren desert of sleeping minds. It is a chance for someone else to awaken, to learn. Your subscription is your vow, a vow to yourself, a vow to truth, a vow to what is coming. If you are ready for more, if you are ready to join us, our inner circle will become your operational base. Here, together, we will exchange knowledge. Here, shoulder to shoulder, we will support each other. Your support, expressed through a super thanks, is like life-giving energy that fuels our shared flame in the relentless battle against the encroaching darkness. It is far more than a mere donation. It is an infusion of potent strength into a unified field of consciousness that cohesively opposes the destructive illusion. We stand on the cusp of the greatest challenge humanity has ever known. Yet, simultaneously, the greatest opportunity unfolds before us. The opportunity to rewrite a fated script, the opportunity to forge a new, radiant reality built on profound love, all-encompassing knowledge, and unwavering truth. The two continents' journey has already begun, marking an awakening. And you, without question, are an integral part of this grand awakening. Until our next meeting, please remain aware. And of course,